I've had to step away from Aegon of Astora for a little while, and I wanted to talk about the reasons why. If you'd like to skip right to the gameplay, you can do so, as always, by navigating to the video description, where a timestamp will point you in the direction of the gameplay. But I would ask that you all just give me a few minutes of your time so that I can talk about Feeling Crestfallen. So the last time I recorded an episode for this series was December 21st. I'm recording this audio commentary on January the 22nd, so a month later. And as you'll probably recall, in the last few episodes, I was pretty under the weather. Physically, I wasn't doing well, but emotionally and otherwise, I was doing more or less okay. But then in late December, for reasons that I'm really not going to get into here, I found myself dealing with a great deal of post-traumatic stress in late December, such that I just felt I was still sick, I felt depressed, I felt defeated, and I was uninterested in doing pretty much anything, including this playthrough. I'm not going to go into my personal history with PTSD here, in part because I've already discussed that at length in Dark Souls 3 Let's Talk Lore, that is episode 16, Firelink Shrine 1. And as I've mentioned in the past and in the context of this playthrough as well, this channel since early 2015, when I recorded Dark Souls 2 Let's Talk Lore, my first ever series on this channel, I was going through, a really, really hard time. And making that series helped me get through it. And, as I've mentioned, I've told this story before, but I just kept making videos because it made me feel good in a way that I wasn't feeling about myself otherwise. And a big part of the reason for that, I think, is that I've always felt really comfortable about sharing very personal stories with each of you and being very open about the things that I've struggled with and that I continue to struggle with. But I received a private message and a few comments which has sort of problematized the therapeutic aspect of me making videos for this channel. And I'll explain what I mean by that in a minute. But as the holiday season drew to a close and it got closer to the time when I needed to get back to work, I found myself just inundated with things that absolutely needed to be dealt with right away. So I had to step away from Aegon of Astora for a while. I had to be calm. I couldn't handle being Aegon when I felt like some people didn't quite appreciate how difficult it is to be Aegon when I also need to be this other person who has all these things going on and is struggling with certain aspects of his life. I'm not trying to call this person out, because I do think that they're being truthful when they say that they mean well here, and that this is just something that they're suggesting because they think that it would make things better. Or we'll get into that aspect of it in a minute, but for now I just want to say, if you're this person who sent me this message, I'm sorry I wasn't going to read it out, and I'm not going to name this person, but I gave this person a chance to respond after their original message, and they didn't, because I wanted to engage in a dialogue with this person to help them understand why sending a message like this could be not received well. But they didn't respond to my message, and it's something I need to get off my chest before I continue being Aegon. That's really all there is to it. So this person says, I am a fan of your channel and thoroughly enjoy your Souls playthroughs, but I wanted to give some feedback on your format. I understand that this might just either be a stylistic choice or a technical limitation, but here it goes. There's generally a lot of fat that can be trimmed per episode, say 5 to 15 minutes. I believe this is because you do your shows more or less as live takes. I would suggest that you play through as a live take and then go about editing it and providing a new voiceover. I believe this would make your story more coherent, as there would be less downtime, thoughts, pauses, and less demands on yourself to be on point. So the reply that I wrote to this person was, so just to be clear, you're asking me to 1. Record an episode as I normally would, 2. Transcribe the 90-minute or more audio recording, 3. Re-record the commentary, 4. Sync the re-recorded commentary to the gameplay, and 5. Edit the rest of the episode as I normally would. I know that you mean well, but do you have any idea how long that would take, and how little time I have to dedicate to this channel to begin with? And to that I would also add that I forgot about 2B, which would have been editing the transcribed text. Because to suggest something like this, and I know I've said this even in the context of this playthrough as well, but I don't expect everyone to have seen all my videos and remembered everything I said. But if you watch pretty much any of my videos, I feel like you should know that I'm a very busy person, that I don't do this for money. This is just something I do in my spare time with what little spare time I have, and we'll talk about that in a minute as well. And I probably spend more time on this channel than I really should, because I have all these other things that I need to be doing. I need to finish my dissertation, and that's something that I might have had closer to being done now were it not for the amount of time I spend on this channel. Because I know it's one thing being on the outside and not actually doing the work of creating these videos, but to just briefly go over the things that were being asked for. To record the episode as I normally would, so basically make an episode the way I normally would make an episode, and then to transcribe the audio commentary file. I'm going to assume that this person has never transcribed audio before, but it takes forever. It really does take a very, very, very long time. If the idea here is to ensure that my videos are shorter and more concise and well phrased and everything is done perfectly, that would also mean having to edit the transcribed text, and that again would take forever. And then to go through the additional step of re-recording the commentary and then syncing it to everything, like, this is an entirely different production than the one that I have set up, which takes forever, but it's something that I can do, that I can manage. This would easily quadruple the amount of time it takes for me to make each episode. And that's why I responded in the way that I did, just because, I don't have time for any of that. And so after I replied, I took a few days to just think about it and to think about what this person was asking for. And I know this seems absurd, and yes, I acknowledge, and I've acknowledged in the past before, that I'm far too sensitive, especially for someone who has a YouTube channel and does all this stuff. I'm a very sensitive person. That's just how I am. I'm sorry, I can't do anything about that. And I should also acknowledge that, yes, I'm incredibly privileged and lucky to have such a overwhelmingly positive and wonderful community of viewers and commenters, and the vast majority of the comments and messages that I receive are positive and really help me get through some of my worst and darkest days. And I'm very, I think, uniquely fortunate in that respect when it comes to YouTube, because most YouTube comment sections, I think we can all agree, aren't nearly as productive and respectful as this one is. And that's not down to me, that's down to all of you, because you're the ones making the comments. So I feel terrible that I haven't spent any time really reading comments from the 99% of people who are respectful and kind and considerate, and that I'm here talking for 20 minutes about ones that aren't. So the second half of this person's message is the part that really stuck with me in the days which followed having received this and sent that reply. It reads, "As a separate note, I feel that you excuse yourself a bit too often. You're tired, things have been hard, etc. There's nothing wrong with showing weakness and being honest about things, but it is also important to project a certain authority. This can be fine-tuned ad infinitum, but perhaps you could have this feedback in mind and listen to an episode or two to see how many times you say something negative about yourself or your situation. With that said, I think you're doing a great job with your channel, and I look forward to every episode, so please do not take my constructive feedback the wrong way." So first I'll say that my intent with this channel has never ever been to project authority. It's never once in my time working on this channel been a goal of mine. And then the second thing is the fact that, as I said earlier in this playthrough, making these videos is therapeutic for me. It really is. And part of the therapy aspect of that, the literal therapy aspect of that, is that I'm open with all of you about my problems and about the things in my life that I'm not happy with or that I am happy with. That's part of the deal here. You know, you don't watch advertisements before my videos because none of them are monetized. I don't ask you for likes. I don't ask you to subscribe or to write. Like, I ask you for comments, but in a manner that isn't just a copy and paste phrase that you put in every single video. Like, I don't ask you for any of those things. Really, the only thing I ask you for is to be nice and to permit me the occasional digression when I want to talk about things and when I want to complain about things. And I know I complain a lot about myself and my situation. And the way I edit my episodes is such that I don't just drop things on a timeline, lower the volume on one, increase it on the other, and then go. I know a lot of people edit their videos like that, but I don't. I edit my episodes piece by piece so that I'm also watching the entire thing while I'm editing it. So, yes, I'm aware of how often I say things that are negative about myself and my situation because I'm depressed. And when you're clinically depressed, it's very difficult at times to feel good about yourself. And I am often recording in situations like that when I'm feeling especially down or tired or just low on energy, precisely because I have so little time to dedicate to this channel. So it's not that I'm excusing myself by saying these things. And I don't know if this person's first language is English, so maybe I'm reading some of these things the wrong way, but they say on the first line of this closing paragraph, as a separate note, I feel that you excuse yourself a bit too often. So suggesting that I'm excusing the low quality of the videos because of certain situations. But no, I'm not excusing anything. I'm just providing you with the context for that present recording session, because I'm a human being and I make mistakes, and I do things well sometimes and sometimes I don't. But you're not going to get a sanitized version of me on this channel. And that's what really upset me about this message. The more and more I thought about it, was that they were saying, I like the ideas that you present and I like how you explore these games, but I want you to present those ideas in a polished manner such that there's nothing of you, the person, Callum, there's nothing of Callum in those ideas. And I'm sorry, but that's never going to happen. You know, I can't not be me. And maybe if my life gets better after I finish my dissertation and things start to look up, maybe I won't complain as much. I don't know. I'm sure I'll find things to complain about, almost certainly, but again, I'm sorry, you're not going to get my ideas without me. The same goes for my work as well, my teaching. I am integral to the things that I'm doing because the context of how things are done is very, very important. It's central for understanding things. And in the case of the Souls games, the context in which someone approaches something is everything, because everything is open to interpretation. So if I'm not giving you the context of me, how I come up with these things, and you wipe all traces of me, Callum, as an individual, as a person, away from this pseudonym of Aegon of Astora, and Aegon of Astora becomes just a fictional being that exists in this universe, like, I'm sorry. And I'm almost certainly overthinking this because, again, that's my job. And you know that I'm overthinking this in part because I'm an academic. And that's the importance of personal context and of establishing context for things. And I'm almost certainly rambling now. So yeah, so I was really upset by that. But on 2 occasions, in between when I last recorded, which was December 21st, and today, which is January 22nd, on 2 separate occasions I tried to record the next episode, just to put all of these negative thoughts out of my mind and just record the episode and see what happens. And both times I found myself feeling self-conscious. I felt self-conscious about the fact that what if I complain about something and this person doesn't like it? And this person gets upset that I'm not editing my videos and re-recording them and scripting them and doing all these things. So I felt really self-conscious about that. And it's really important when you're the type of person who's very self-conscious about a lot of things that you don't have something like that in the middle of a recording session. But when you add that message to a comment that I got, which basically said your fake laugh is annoying. Why would I do that? Why would I pretend to laugh? Like, I don't understand. And, you know, the thought ran through my mind as I'm getting ready to record, what if I laugh and this person thinks I'm faking my laugh? Like, again, I'm sorry, I know I'm too sensitive, but that just made it really hard for me to record. On 2 separate occasions, I got all set up and I was ready to go, and I just thought about those comments and I thought about that message and I just couldn't do it. And at the same time, in my personal life, I'm dealing with an apartment building and an apartment that I did not know had asbestos in it, but that, according to the research I've done over the last 2 weeks, following that revelation, I ought to have known as far back as August 2012 when I moved in to my current home. So there were several issues there, and the most important being that they're installing a new fire alarm system in my apartment building, which is great because the old one, which is basically like an old school bell, is the worst. Because when they test it, they have to test it once annually, and when they do that, it's the entire day. You have to get out of the apartment because it's so freaking loud. So it's great that they're doing that, but the problem is that they are drilling in these apartments, really, really loud drilling, which not only is very disruptive if you're anywhere near where they're presently drilling, but also raises the risk of asbestos becoming airborne, which is a very big deal because, for those of you who are unaware, asbestos is a carcinogen, that is a cancer-causing substance. And generally, if you inhale it, you won't know for something like 20 years that you have lung cancer as a result of asbestos inhalation. So I had to hold my landlords to account for that, and to point out that the things that they were doing, the lack of disclosure here, was completely illegal. And so that was a huge part of the reason I had to step away, as well as I had to do a bunch of stuff for my students because they didn't get a proper education in high school. Because in high school, they don't teach you how to write essays, and they don't teach you how to cite people and how to separate your own opinions from those that you get from elsewhere. So I had to do a bunch of stuff with a bunch of my students to help them with that. So I had to completely step away from Aegon of Astora for a while. I couldn't come back until I talked about that message and these comments, just because otherwise I wouldn't have been able to record feeling natural and just feeling like I'm being myself, because I would be self-conscious about these things. So just to be clear, I've never fake laughed in any of my videos. What this person might have been referring to is the fact that I was sick while recording the 2 most recent episodes, so therefore my voice sounded really weird, and it might have sounded that I was pretending to laugh when in fact it was just me trying not to cough. That's why my voice sounded weird. I don't know. But again, I've never pretended to laugh because, you know, I'm not making like 2-minute laugh out loud, screaming at things compilations on this channel. Like, that's not what I do. I'm not in this for money or for views or for any of these stupid metrics that exist. I'm doing this because A, it's therapeutic for me, and B, I enjoy interacting with all of you and sharing this with you, sharing my love of these games with you. And you all teach me a lot. And those of you who have left really kind and thoughtful and just wonderful messages for me, a bunch of people have drawn things for me, thank you. Thank you sincerely. And I'm sorry that I didn't start this video by talking about your comments or something more positive, but I had to get all this off my chest. So this episode and the rest of this series is dedicated to all of you who have been really positive and really helpful and wonderful forces in my life. So thank you. Hello everyone, this is Aegon of Astora, and welcome back to my first ever playthrough of Demon's Souls. This is episode number 17, being recorded on Sunday, February the 4th. I hope you're all having a fantastic day, whenever it is you find yourself watching this. So it's been almost 2 weeks since I recorded the prelude to the episode which you just watched. And the reason for that is in part that, again, I needed a little bit of time to process everything that I was feeling, but also I had to spend most of the last week outside of my apartment because they were installing the new fire alarm system in here. So that's all done now, and I have my apartment back to myself, and I'm almost caught up on work and all the things that were going on beyond that, other than the fact that I'm preparing, I guess, for the possibility that we might go on strike. That is my union. And so that's not fun because the administration's saying all these untrue things about TAs and about what they do and what they don't do. Apparently I make $55 an hour, which, if you had told me that a while back, I'd be like, wow, okay, well, hook me up with some of that back pay then, because this semester I did something like an extra 60 hours on top of the hours that I had scheduled per my contract. If I had known that I was an hourly staff member, then yeah, I'd be making a heck of a lot more money. In other words, they're just bullshitting because we're not actually paid hourly, but yeah, I'm rambling already, and we just got started after more than a month of being away, so So yeah, let's get started. We're going to start off by going back to the Valley of Defilement because I've been led to understand that I missed several important things, and there's one comment I want to talk about as well. What is going on with Regret's foot? Like I said, off to a great start. Okay. Let's go to the Maiden Astraea Archstone. Archstone of the Demon Astraea, once a 6th saint. Astraea lived with those awaiting death in the Valley of Defilement. She pledged herself to a demon soul rather than a cruel god to ease the pain of the people there. That's very sad. What a lovely start. Not only have we caught the plague just zoning in. Oh, what do we use to heal that again? But if you look in the top right, okay, it's gone now. I apologize for not knowing who it was who left this comment, not knowing offhand, but someone clued me into the fact that if you see in the top right, there was a little misty circle there that kept sort of pulsating, and that would seem to indicate that the game is trying to connect to the servers. And as soon as we zoned in, I saw it doing that, and I thought, oh no, here goes the frame rate and everything, but it looks like we're okay now. So great place for that Archstone. Hadn't also noticed all those bodies there previously. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to get all these items that I said I would get off camera, but yeah, might as well do them now because there's something else that we came here for as well. And the other reason is that I wanted to talk about these things here. In part because of a comment that was left by an orange fellow who writes, just because it's a pet peeve of mine since early days and I won't get another chance to say so, there's nothing in the game whatsoever referencing abortions or fetuses. Nothing. The Demon Souls wiki outright lies and makes up dialogue that simply doesn't exist. For real, check the sound files for the game. I don't know why someone did that, but they did, and it persists to this day. I'm not saying that isn't a valid theory, however, it's also possible those creatures are demons of any nature or are meant to represent anything. People can be turned into fucked up and weird things in this game. The reason why I so strongly reacted and assumed that it was the thing that I assumed it was is the fact that this is said to be a place where the unwanted things of the world are thrown. And it could be easily said that one of the worst, I guess, I'm not really sure how to describe it, one of the worst unwanted things in the world is an unwanted child or an unwanted baby. I fully 100% support a woman's right to choose what she does with her own body, and it's never, in my view, appropriate for a man to say what a woman should or should not do with their bodies. And that includes things that are growing within their bodies. But yeah, I reacted so strongly just because of the whole idea that this is a place where the most unwanted things in the world are tossed. And you know, I don't think it's unreasonable to take that line of dialogue, look at these things and say, oh, yeah. So I'm sorry, I know I danced around a lot of verbiage there, so I hope that that makes sense, but I obviously don't want to... Oh, crud. This is gonna be just so utterly pleasant. I can tell already just how pleasant this is gonna be. Oh gosh darn it. Okay. Oh my god. Oh my god, the audio design, no. Oh, that is dreadful. It really is. Oh, they drop ephemeral eye stones. That's very nice of you, whatever you are. Oh no. I wonder were all these ragdoll bodies here before? Maybe I just didn't notice them? No, because I was so actively avoiding this area. So we didn't come here really for these items as much as we did for the items that were dropped when we found the slug's hidden lair where they've been plotting their revenge against me for like 15 years. Oh, I hate the or at least what I perceive to be inconsistency with the platforming. As to when you can jump up on things or climb up on things and when you can't. Okay, that's not working here at all. It was working in the bigger swamp earlier, but not here. And we're almost out of Widow's Lotus. Pure marrow stone. So that's someone's bone marrow, presumably? Pure mercury stone. Stop it. I'm a guest here. Be nice. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Oh, their death animations are so protracted. Ugh. Hey, fellas. I'm sorry that I got rid of your music by taking care of the boss. Oh no! No. Friends, where did the crystal lizard go? Oh, you're not gonna help me, are you? You're just praising the sewage system, I suppose. Alright, fair enough. I thought that was just a shiny. I didn't realize it was a crystal lizard until it was too late. Oh, pure sucker stone, great. As with the previous episode, I was just thinking, man, I'd love it if we could get some pure sucker stone. Is that it, really? I could have swore there were way more items here. And maybe there are, but again, screw this place, I don't care. Oh, I really wish there were a build-up bar. Again, I'm not expecting that this game should somehow have reached into the future and retroactively implemented the quality of life improvements that came with later Souls games, because that is, of course, not reasonable. But as I mentioned in a comment reply that I wrote to someone, I understand full well that this is the first game in the series, but given the fact that I have played all of the later games before playing this one, my experiences with the later games will have inevitably colored my experience playing this one. There's not really a heck of a lot I can do about that. Because, you know, can't go back in time to 2009 and play this when it was new and my experiences had yet to be colored by the subsequent Souls games. Just make sure there's no other items that I'm missing. Oh, I get it. A number of the things that I thought were items just appear to be these candles. Okay, so this is the Dirty Colossus Archstone, which I thought that was a very cool boss fight. Item we missed over here. Darkmoon Grass, cool. Yeah, I quite enjoyed that boss fight, especially just how everything was sort of thrown together with the boss. The boss had seemingly improvised armor with all of the stuff that is just sort of lying around here. I thought that was a really cool touch. Did you just kill your friend? Because I don't think I killed that guy whose shiny was down here. Oh, this is the place where they were having the dance party. Listening to music from from chatting Parodius. Very clever attempt at an ambush there, friends, but you came after me just like a split second too soon. Otherwise, you would have been completely in my blind spot. I am stuck. What? I didn't realize there was a swamp under here. Forgot how dreadful the camera was here. Oh gosh, this is terrible. So since I recorded the last episode, it's been announced that they are coming out with a Dark Souls 1 HD remaster, which, if you know anything about my history with the Souls games, you must know, I'm incredibly excited for. Where did that come from? I am like super excited for that. I don't know that I'm going to have enough time when that comes out, because it'll be coming out shortly after I'm finished teaching for the year, and provided that I'm not teaching in the summer, I'm not sure if I will or not, but provided that I'm not, it'll come out at a time when I will finally just have a couple months to write for my dissertation. It's been hard finding time to write while teaching at the same time, just because, yeah, like I said, after the prelude when we were back at the Nexus, even though I'm paid to teach a certain number of hours, I actually work far in excess of that, just because there's far too much to do. So yeah, so I'm very much looking forward to the opportunity to actually have time to write. And so that'll be right around the time when the Dark Souls 1 HD remaster comes out. So I don't know that I'm going to do a playthrough per se. Oh, I didn't see what that was, but there were 2 items there. So I'm not going to do a playthrough, but I am most likely, I'm currently leaning towards doing a playthrough of it on Twitch, doing a live stream of it. In a similar vein to my live stream of the old hunters in Bloodborne. In that my current idea is that I'll live stream it and then I will edit it together into 45-minute episodes and upload it to YouTube that way. That too might take more time than I have, so I'm not ready to promise that I'll do that just yet. That is the upload part. The live stream part will almost certainly happen. Someone on Twitter, I think it was someone on Twitter, asked whether, or suggested rather, that when I do live stream Dark Souls 1, that I do so with a sorcerer build. Sure, I have done sorcerer builds, but I've never done it in a playthrough or live stream or anything. That's what this person was mentioning, that they hadn't seen me in a playthrough or live stream using a caster build of any sort. So sure, that's actually a really good idea. So I think when the Dark Souls 1 remaster comes out, I'll do a live stream and I will try to do, if it's not a caster build, which I'm leaning very heavily towards that at this point, then some sort of build that really puts me outside of my comfort zone. Because, you know, you can obviously see what my comfort zone is. Wearing, you know, medium armor, a parry shield, and a large weapon. Or, you know, quality weapon. This is generally the type of builds I gravitate to. So when Dark Souls 1 comes out, yeah, I'm thinking a sorcery build. So let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on that, if you agree, disagree. But I think that should be interesting. But that's still several months away, so... And the reason why the Dark Souls 1 remaster came to mind just now is the fact that we are, yeah, in the Valley of Defilement. And I was thinking the other day, while thinking about the remaster, oh my gosh, we're potentially going to be able to play Blighttown at 60 FPS. I have a feeling it'll still chug no matter what. Like, whereas the rest of the game will run at 60 FPS, this will run at, like, Blighttown will run at, like, 45 or 50 or something. But as long as it's above, like, the 10 or 15 that you generally get at Blighttown, I'm quite pleased with that. And yeah, it's going to make Blighttown a completely different area, because, oh, crud, yeah, we did knock it down, so, oh yeah, it's down there. Oh, and there's an item there as well. So at least it looks like they made it a little bit easier to drop down to it. Cool. I completely missed that last time. The slug's like, fine, I'll join my friends down here. Again, very clever level design using the item to attune you to the fact that you can just hop down here. Again, in spite of the fact that I completely missed that last time. Oh! Wow, you can even see it! That is really cool. Yeah, I'm very glad we came back for this. Oh. Stop motion slugs. The best kind of slugs. Alright, screw it. We're just gonna go down there. And take care of business, hopefully. No! Oh, crud. Okay. Let's do this. Are you guys working for Seath? What's going on here? What? So it's like a sword and a stone type situation? Oh, sucker stones. That is pretty cool. What? Large Sword of Moonlight. The legendary large sword that reflects moonlight, widely known in association with Moonlight Knight Beto. It is one of the few revelations from God, I should say. The blue crystal blade is composed only of light, so it's impossible to block with a shield. Is that really a thing? So if you're fighting someone in PvP with this, they can't use their shield. Oh, because I guess because it's magic damage. So you wouldn't be blocking physical damage. Unless it's saying something else. We don't have what it takes to use it, do we? Oh, it has no requirements? Oh, 24 intelligence. Okay. I think that's what that is anyway. Yeah, 24... No, 24 faith? Oh. So it's a faith weapon in this game. That is curious. I presume we're not seeing the full moveset because of the fact that, yeah, I don't have the stats to wield it. But yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool. So let's head back to the Nexus. Because screw this place. Now that we've gotten the things we came for. Since we started in this direction, we went from the first Archstone to the fifth one. Seeing as we've already killed Maiden Astora, we might as well do the Archstones in reverse order from here on out until we get back to the first Archstone, because I'm led to understand that Boletarian Palace is special in some way after you've killed an Archdemon. That is, I think, like the most comprehensive area. So this is where we fought the old hero, and I'm going to assume that through this fog gate is the next boss fight, which is the Storm King or something? The fight in which we need to use the Storm Ruler, so let's find out. Yeah, Storm King. So it's like the mothership, the mother stingray. All right, so where's our Storm Ruler at? That's the next question. To challenge the storm, you will need a sword that can rend the sky. And I assume this is it right here. Nope, New Moon Grass. Again, very cool music. Appropriately large and sprawling boss room, given the gimmick here. And so are all the archdemons gimmicky boss fights? I'm going to assume that False King Allant is the archdemon for 1.3 or 1.4, whatever it's called. In which case, that would mean no, that they're not all gimmicky boss fights. Oh, that's a freaking crystal lizard, isn't it? We're gonna die because of this, I know it. Oh, there's two of them. Oh, crud. Don't you dare. Okay, at least we got the Storm Ruler. I do quite enjoy the removing the sword from the stone type thing that we've just done twice. I think that's cool. I always enjoy it when there's actual signs of the weapon that you're picking up, rather than it just being a generic item shiny. I've always enjoyed that whenever that happens. I don't know how they decide when to make it just a generic item shiny and when not to, but let's figure out how this works. I assume it's just an R2? Oh, get wrecked. Yeah, because in Dark Souls 3, of course, it uses the same mechanics as the weapon arts / soul arts, whatever they're called. Oh, we're gonna die. Oh, it really traps you in that animation, though. No. Okay, this is a bad spot. Let's get out of here. The weapon arts thing obviously wasn't a thing in this game. So what if you do it one... Oh, you can even do it one-handed. Did I really hit one with that? I'll take that. Alright. Looks better two-handed anyway. Grant me the power of the storm! It feels even better when you say... Oh, he's not taking any damage. Are those poison? Those look like they're poisoned. So I guess we gotta take care of the ads first. Cloudstone. Whoa. You really are a mothership, aren't you? Okay, so it has taken damage, but was that because of something we did? Or do you just damage it by taking out the ads? It's always hard to say the first time around whether a gimmick boss fight is... Ooh, that hurts. Whether a gimmick boss fight is good or not, because... The first time it always seems cool. I think the real test is whether or not it's enjoyable to do second, third, or fourth time. Strikes me as a very Shadow of Colossus-y boss fight. Shadow of Colossi boss fight. Although I've never played the game, and we're certainly not climbing on it, but just because you have this large lumbering boss that you couldn't possibly fight directly. Or do you just hit its underside? Is that what it is? Yeah, it's its underside, I guess. Poison thing's coming. Let's go for hit anyway. Nothing. Oh, crud. I deserve to get hit there. Yeah, it's definitely that, like, pod on its underside. Come on, one more. You can do it. Oh, regret. I regret that. Coming around for another bombing run. Okay, let's dodge the things this time. Cool. Again, I quite enjoyed that, but I'm not sure if it's the type of boss fight I would enjoy after multiple attempts. And it's also just very cool having the Storm Ruler. I wonder if someone could explain to me. I seem to recall there being something about the abilities of the Storm Ruler outside of this boss fight that it doesn't quite work the same. But I also seem to recall trolling players with this being a thing. So I don't know. But I'm curious if someone could let me know in the comment section below what the Storm Ruler is like in other situations in this game. Presume that the rest of these are just Cloudstone. And so again, another burial site, I guess. Not I guess, like it's very obviously a burial site. And these are gravestones. What the? What the fuck? Oh my gosh. I don't even know if there's any point in us shooting it because we're not gonna be able to get those upgrade materials anyway. Okay, the crystal lizard's completely bugged out. See ya. That's not fair, FromSoft. What the heck? Holy arrow. A special ceremonial arrow that emits sound when it flies. It is said that this sound purifies evil. It is also enhanced with magic. Okay, I didn't hear anything different. I guess I'll have to edit them side by side and listen more closely because I didn't hear anything different there. Pure Cloudstone and Storm Demon Soul. So we're looking for pure something. Extremely rare pure Cloudstone. Enhances shields in particular. An ore that blocks light and increases a shield's capacity to block magic. Shields can be strengthened by Cloudstones up to a maximum level of 5. So it's basically a magic infusion for shields. Alright, well, I know this is going to be a short episode in terms of the gameplay. We had the 20-minute prelude to the episode, and I could keep going because my recording's at 55 minutes, but a lot of that time was just me running around in the swamp at the Valley of Defilement. So I don't know what the ultimate length of this episode is going to be, but I imagine it's going to be somewhat shorter than you're probably used to. But yeah, we might as well end it there. And then in the next episode, is it Latria next? It is indeed Latria next. So we're going to be going to the Maneater Archstone and presumably proceeding to fight the old monk. So that's going to do it for this episode, but thank you all very, very much for joining me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.